Hey everybody, it is Monday the 26th of July 2021. I'm Scott Allen Miller. This is Sheep Guarding Llama. Welcome to the show being filmed on the street right here in Las Peñitas, Nicaragua. And that was the head chef and owner of Puesta del Sol driving by and honking at all of us. Our neighbor from right across the street. I guess he's heading down to his house. Maybe he's going out on the town. They're busy tonight though because it's I'm filming this on Tuesday, but I'm doing the news for Monday. As he drives by, it's Tuesday, he would be busy because a couple other places are closed, but they are open because they are closed on Monday. When you live here, you have to memorize everybody's schedule because there's only so many places you can go to eat. And they do the completely amazing and authentic Italian right across the street from us. They do amazing pizza. I especially like their potato pizza with rosemary. And they do pasta, real handmade pasta. I especially like their ravioli espinaca. It is quite good. And the girls really like, it's kind of a bruschetta, but not quite, with salmon on top. And they like quite a bit. So it's kind of an Italian take on a lox and bagel kind of thing. Anyway, it is Monday, and today is, as always, a work day for me. Today was really tough for me for work. I had a day where, most everyone was out a lot of the day, so I had to watch the dogs, and they were just being really needy. And Clive was being extraordinarily needy, and he needed to be held to fall asleep all the time. And people would time coming into the office, right? Because people don't really, everybody's like, oh, we have to not bother him, but they don't think about what that means. And so what happens is it gets spaced out, and about once an hour, someone pops into the office, wakes up the dogs, makes the dog needy. Then I have to spend a good 45 minutes on the bed holding the dog to get him to fall back asleep so he relaxes. Then I try to work. Then a few minutes later, someone opens the door and the cycle starts again. I lost so much time dealing with that today. It was really stressful, and I could never stop working all day and hardly got anything done because the whole day was lost to dealing with dog stuff in that manner. It didn't help that the dogs also decided to get up early this morning. Normally they get up at 5:30. Today they got up at 4, and we went for a 3-hour walk this morning, which is great. It was good exercise and all that, but holy cow, I was exhausted. I had already stayed up pretty late last night before getting up at 4 o'clock this morning. So according to my watch, I only got 2.5 hours of sleep, which is enough for me to survive, but not enough for me to be thrilled about it. So the whole day was just really bogged down, and that stress of there's not a lot of work going on. However, good things did happen at work, and we had some bad stuff happen at work a week or two ago, and we have effectively recouped all of our losses we still lost a couple weeks, right? But in general, in the grand scheme of things, we've completely recuperated from bad news that we had recently. So feeling much better because of that, but I still have a very large workload that I need to catch up on, and that is just, it is what it is. I did have my Spanish class today. I'm doing Spanish classes Monday, which is today, Tuesday, tomorrow, and Wednesday, and then my neuroscience memory class on Thursday. So it's a pretty solid spread out week, but my Spanish this morning I felt went really well. I really am feeling progress. As I've mentioned before on the channel, I'm doing really heavy conversation in my classes, which is me pushing harder than they normally expect you to do, which I think is really good, right? I'm really trying hard to make this something that advances quickly and that I can actually become useful in. And I'm gonna walk away from this air compressor here. It's a little bit loud. I'm hoping you can still hear me. Okay, it's not terribly loud here, but it's enough that you've got to be picking it up. No idea what they're doing. So I feel like my Spanish lessons are going well. It's a lot of work. I'm doing video lessons every day. I'm doing homework every day. I'm doing Duolingo still every day. I'm over 530 days. I'm doing drops every day. I'm over 540 days, I think. I am doing memorize every day. I'm on about 12 to 14 days. I'm doing in-person lessons 3 days a week. I'm doing training videos. It is a lot. And of course, in real life, you can hear it in the background, right? Spanish going on. So it seems to be very good progress. I feel like I'm really learning. I feel like I'm really getting somewhere. So that's very positive. I'm feeling good about that. The really big thing that happened, and this actually happened yesterday, is well, let me back up. On several days ago, when they opened the estuary, we got to meet Wilbur's daughter, Michelle, who is roughly Liesel's age, almost a year older, but pretty close. And so we hung out with her a little bit when the estuary was opened, and then on Saturday, when we did the estuary tour, we ran into her on the street because she works at a restaurant that Wilbur's family owns down near the estuary, on the estuary actually, and then we ran into her at the market. So like we know her now because we keep running into her. And we talked to Wilbur, and he was like, oh, she would love to come down and hang out with the girls. So today, and this is huge, right? This is the first time that the girls have had someone over to hang out with in reality in a year and a half. So think about putting this into perspective that, you know, it's been COVID, right? So if you're watching this in the future, the context of this is very important. We've had the COVID pandemic that started in February of 2020. It is now the end of July 2021. And the kids are used to, prior to that, they would go play with Isabel and Juancho. Rachel would come over all the time. Like, they had a very pretty decent social calendar. They would go to homeschool events, and they would go see their cousins all the time. And so that was what they were used to. And now, for the last year and a half, they've just been stuck at home, and they do things with people online, obviously, but it's very, very limiting. So they have only seen Isabel and Juancho from a distance, you know, standing outside and staying socially distanced. They haven't actually played together at all. They do stuff online together, but that's it. They have hung out with their cousins, but not a lot, and only relatively recently. And now we're living in Nicaragua, so we've been here for just over 2 months, and of course they don't know any kids here. They've met a few, but it was really, they just met the parents of some, and it's like, oh, at some point we'll probably get together kind of thing. So that's been very tough. They've been extremely isolated and not around other kids and not able to do anything like that. So this is a huge deal that there's someone local of the same age that can come over and hang out. And so Michelle came over this evening after school, so I think around 5 o'clock or so, and Dominica took, and we hadn't set any of this up, so we tested the video game machine that we worked so hard to bring down from the States. That worked. We tested the projector the one that we got for Greece and used heavily in 2016, 2017. We've barely used it since, and it's been years since we've even turned it on. So that was scary. We turned that on, it worked. We plugged them in together, got it actually working. And so we set up a Steam gaming system in the restaurant because it's super slow because it's Monday, right? So there's like hardly any people. There's a few people sitting out on the beach. We weren't dead, but it was very slow. So Dominica set up the gaming system, did projection on the wall of the restaurant, and they played video games all night until almost midnight. It was pretty cool. So completely different experience for them than what they've had for a long time, because they actually had a friend over who hung out all night. Now, of course, she speaks Spanish and not English. They speak English and not Spanish. We're hoping that this will encourage all of them to be able to speak to each other. It'll probably be good for everybody, but that was a challenge. They played a bit of like Sonic racing games, which of course you don't have to read anything or hear, you know, it's just hit the button, go fast. They played Castle Crashers, which is kind of like arcade style button masher like a 4-player one, so that was good. They could all play together. They did some hidden object games in Spanish. We found some that were in Spanish, and they tried that. And they did some VR with Beat Saber. And so it was a pretty fun evening. I didn't really get to participate or watch. I was working all evening. Buenas noches. And so it was pretty cool. And this is Carlos. He is on his way to the hotel right now. So that was the evening, right? They did that, and it was really cool. For dinner, we did. And Yvonne's like, we need something different. You want to do French fries with chili? And we're like, yes. So she did a vegetarian chili with cheese and huge plate of French fries, and we just had a huge thing of that. That was really nice change of pace, really good. And we're working really hard to find items that we can put on the menu because we're trying to make the menu a lot bigger. Everybody on our staff is complaining that like we have all this capability, we eat all this great food, but the menu doesn't reflect any of that, and we're not getting the number of customers that we should, and we're not selling the level of stuff that we should because we have this really boring printed menu that looks awful, and just the whole thing's terrible when we actually have this amazing food and really broad menu that we can offer. So we're trying to fix that pretty quickly and trying to find ways to fix that really quickly. So I'm just coming by one of the murals. If you watch, or if you look at my Instagram feed, Las Peñitas Life, this is one of the murals that I have photographed on there. So yeah, so this was a really cool day. It was a really big day. Oh, they also did each other's nails because Michelle is actually taking professional classes. She's the youngest one in her program to be a professional nail salon operator. There's a term for that, and I don't know what it is. But she's actually getting trained in that and going to school. So she goes to regular school Monday through Friday, and then on either Saturday or Sunday, she takes these advanced classes somewhere else with a trade school. And her hope is to open the first nail salon here in the village, because everyone has to go into Leon currently to do those things. If you're wondering how far I have walked, I am currently at Arena Beach, just about to come past it. So really big deal is that we finally have the Steam gaming computer hooked up again and working, and all of that works. So that's huge. We're gonna figure out different ways to get that set up so that we can really use it regularly. We've been doing okay. The kids have their gaming laptop. They've been using that. But there's a lot of gaming that they've been missing, and I've been missing, but I've been busy, so it's not a big deal. So we will be doing that. The staff thought it was pretty cool to have this thing, games projected on the wall and everybody playing. What's really interesting is because we stayed busy so late, because we had Dominica and the girls in the restaurant doing something, instead of all of our guests leaving at 7 o'clock, they stayed until well after 10, which proves my point. Not proves, but it suggests my point, which I've been saying, is that since we officially put our closing time at 7 and we start locking the place up and turning off the lights and shutting down the music, we make it feel like we're closed and people are not welcome, or that they should start wrapping up. Sometimes people stay late, especially on the weekends, but during the week, it feels kind of like you should leave, and people do. Just after 7, everyone packs up and goes. But I don't think very many of them go home. I think they mostly go to bars that are open later, like Cholitos across the street. Not that we want to take business away from them, but we would like business to be with us. So this suggests, and Dominica came to this on her own, that the fact that we stayed open... ¿Cómo estás? You're on YouTube again. That is our tour guide from the estuary on Saturday, and not the first time that I've run into him today. It's funny how much, once you get to know someone, you realize that you cross paths with them on the street several times a day, right? Because it really is a small town. So yeah, so we're pretty convinced that simply being open later, like making it feel like you're supposed to be able to stay, will make people want to stay. I've been saying this all along, that it's only that we make it feel like that either we kick people out or we make it feel uncomfortable and that they should go. And even so, tonight with the games on, we still closed the security gates and made it feel very much like you weren't supposed to be there, and still we had a number of tables drinking until after 10 o'clock. So it really feels like it's an obvious thing that we need to make it feel like we're open, and we may have a pretty solid crowd until 10:30 or 11, which would do wonders for the profitability of the restaurant, because there's only so many times that you get business. You get a breakfast crowd and then nothing. You get a lunch crowd, then generally nothing at all in the afternoon. And then you get the dinner crowd, and currently our menu does not encourage dinner so much. It's much more of a lunch menu and breakfast menu, very strong breakfast. And we really don't have a strong cocktail menu, which I want to have. The bar menu in general, we have beer and stuff, but and we've added wine, but it's in general just not that strong. If we made it more attractive, not only would we have people drinking later, which of course is a big profit number, big margins, but also we would have a later dinner, a longer, bigger dinner crowd to encourage people to stay, because we close currently at 7. Well, we didn't go to Suyapa last night because it just didn't make sense, right? They close at 6. We don't eat that early. We're always running into the problem that our own restaurant closes before we want to have dinner. I'm recording this at 6 o'clock. I'm nowhere near hungry, and already I should be racing back to place an order before our kitchen closes. It's kind of crazy. So we need to extend those hours. I'm convinced that it will be wildly successful once the word gets out, once we have the expanded menu for both cocktails and for drinks in general, and for food, and we extend the hours. I know all those things cost more money, but I think they're going to generate far more than they cost in weeks. And we've noticed, right, we've only been here for 2 months, that we've really been making changes, and in that time we have noticed the level of crowd just get bigger and bigger and bigger from the little changes that we are making. And so we think that I think that those things will be felt really quickly. By the way, what I'm walking by here is a mixture of tall grasses and agave. This is, I believe, I'm not the expert, but I believe these are the agaves used to make the local rope. Here, obviously, they're decorative, but that is what they are. They're not the agave used to make tequila, but it is a related cactus. Anyway, so that was our day. So the kids had a really good day. It was really important for them. And we're very excited that they now have a friend here locally. So, you know, there's no reason they can't hang out all the time, because it's not like there's a lot of other things going on in town. Everyone's social schedule here is pretty limited, even though COVID isn't, you know, causing everything to be locked down here. It is causing most of the businesses to be closed and activities not to exist. So it's a big deal for them. So that is my long news update for Monday the 26th, a very important day here on our calendars in Nicaragua. I'll see everybody tomorrow.